Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Sports with Mattymo Podcast. And boy, oh boy, guys, we got a special treat for all of you. Now, before I introduce this person, I just want to let you know I had the privilege to watch this guy play in Sorel in the League North American of Hockey. And still today, when I go to Syracuse to see Laval Rocket play the Syracuse Crunch, I still see fans wear his jersey at games. And I always go up to those fans and say, I saw that player play, and he was one of my favorite players to see play. I would love to introduce you all a hockey legend, a really good enforcer, Jon Mirasty. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you?
Doing amazing. I hope you and your family are having amazing Thanksgiving. And yeah.
Yeah, we just finished supper about an hour ago and just trying to relax now.
It's amazing. I'm actually having my dinner tomorrow.
Right on.
Yeah. So basically, like, what you're known for in hockey is mostly fighting and smiling when you fight. That I personally saw in person.
Yeah, that's something that created who I am today. And with all the adversity and that I went through, it really helped me build a good character of myself. A lot of people always say that, fighting's too violent but most of the enforcers that I know are some of the best guys around. They give back to the community. They're very giving.
Yeah, like for example, like someone we both know, Sean McMurrow, who has his own podcast called The Sheriff. He's one really nice guy. And trust me, you and him had good battles on the ice together.
Yeah, I fought Sean a few times. We're definitely a tough customer, and it's always nice to see him doing good in life after hockey. Like everybody I see, I like to see them succeed, and he seems to be doing quite well for himself. So that's great to see.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like every time I'm in Toronto, I always give him a text. I remember once I went to a Marlies game versus Laval because I followed the Laval Rocket, and he brought his school to that game. It was amazing to see him there, and it brought a smile to my face.
Well, that's good. Yeah, no, he's like you said, seems to be trying to do good things, and I wish him the best.
Yeah. So basically, so you started your career in the WHL, and then you went to the SJHL. Like, were you like fighting in those leagues, or you were actually like playing and scoring?
Well, at that time, I was already taking the role of the enforcer on, and I started out in the SJHL, and then I actually moved to the Western League. And then when I was 19 years old, 20, my son was born, so I actually quit the Western League and went back to the SJHL to finish my 20-year-old season off, and then was actually not going to play hockey anymore. I was ready to go to university and wanted to actually be a veterinarian, an animal doctor. That was one of my goals. So I started in school, and after about a semester into it, I started getting phone calls to come play pro, and you're only young once, so I thought I'd go give it a try. And next thing you know, I ended up having a 13 to 14-year professional hockey career. So it was quite the experience, and I sure got to meet a lot of good people during the way.
Yeah, and you had an amazing fan base like following you. I remember once my brother was playing midget AA, and this was, I think, your first year back in the league or second year. And I asked my brother's friends, "Do you want to go see a semi-pro game?" They're like, "Only if Jon Mirasty is playing."
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking.
No, the fans played a big part of my career. Like I said, I had a big following, and without their support, it usually got me going. Even the fans that cheered against me, it was always kind of fed the fire. So, fans play a really important role in a player's career, and luckily I had more cheering for me than less than cheering against me, so it was good.
Yeah, I remember like when you played in Cornwall against the River Kings. I remember, I think next weekend, I used to go down to the games to watch. I used to go with Sasha Pupla, called defenseman, number 4. I remember he told me they were chanting your name there. It was amazing. You fought Cloutier, I think.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I've traveled a lot of different cities, and even on the opposing cities, I always had a lot of good fan support. So it was always a good feeling to have. But I also like to be egged on a bit too, and have those fans that cheered against me. It was always made games more interesting, made it a little more fun for me. So I appreciate both the ones that cheered for me and the ones that cheered against me.
Yeah, and remember the greatest battles we'll talk about later is, I think, against your cousin Jeremy, and also Steve Bossy that we're going to bring up later in this podcast. because a lot of people talk about that. Lots of people still today they talk about this.
Yeah. No, Jeremy is actually not my cousin.
Oh,
That rumor started years and years ago.
wow.
We did kind of grow up together, and I always tease people because
Yeah,
he's a white guy. He's a white guy, and I'm Indian, so I
yeah,
always say, how the hell could he be my cousin? But Jeremy was a few years older than I was growing up, and was a guy that I looked up to quite a bit. So
yeah.
later on in our careers, when I was playing pro, we had the opportunity to fight each other, and we ended up making some pretty good fights that are still being ranked pretty high up there in the hockey world. So yeah, he's another tough customer that I fought.
Yeah, especially that game in Syracuse when you played outdoors. I was watching that game at my mom and dad's house. And I remember when you fought him, I just see the linesman in the back just smiling. Like he was just smiling while you guys were going at it.
Yeah, well, usually the linesmen are the guys that have the best seats in the house, so
Oh,
they're
yeah.
they're right up front and close, personal. And I always maintained a really good relationship with all the linesmen, and the refs, because they ended up having to deal with me quite a bit. So I still have guys that I still keep in touch with to this day that were referees. So yeah, no, they play an integral part too.
Same, like there's a lot of players in the league, like AHL, LNH, even mid AAA and junior AAA. I still keep contact, and also some referees. But I never played in those leagues. I watched, and I was behind the scenes sometimes, like not working for a team, but as a fan, seeing
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that no one know anything about, and
Yeah,
including some of my stories that I have. People don't know it until they actually hear about it. So it's always kind of neat to hear a different side of the story.
yeah. So basically, you also played in Syracuse for a couple of years for the Syracuse Crunch.
Yeah, it's a good part of my career was played in Syracuse. I still have a lot of friends there that became family, and it's a place that I usually travel back to every couple of years and go visit. I still keep in touch with the organization, and the GM and the owner, Howard Dog, and they all treated me really good when I was there, and they continue to treat me really good. So it's always nice to keep that relationship going.
And I'll be honest, they have a great fan base. Even when I go to Syracuse, I love going there. I love their fans. They're on you every game, like for the visiting team, and they respect every fan that comes in the building. And they still wear your jersey when I go there. And like it's crazy. It's a fun atmosphere, Syracuse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I have a lot of good memories in that building and in that city. So it's a place that I always kind of have to keep a soft spot in my heart for. It's really good people there, and then, like I said, I enjoyed that organization. It's probably one of my favorite places that I've got to play in. So that's good memories there.
And what about Danbury? You also had the privilege to play for the Thrashers. Or
Yeah,
Trashers.
the Danbury Trashers. Yeah, that was I only played there for not quite a full year, but
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to experience it, and you watch the documentary that they did about the
Yeah.
team and the ownership there, and it doesn't even do it really justice, because it was a great organization. Like Jimmy Galante treated us like gold, and having young AJ there kind of made headlines, being a young 17-year-old kid that was making some transactions was pretty neat, and having his dad behind him helping him out was very unique, and it made for a really good story.
Yeah, and it was crazy, like him getting rough. And I remember someone I knew, Sean Collymore, he played a couple of games for the Danbury Trashers.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah, and like I watched the documentary, and I also know he brought back Ice Wars recently. And I was speaking to Sean about this, and I told him, or I think it was Gary Deck, and I said, they gotta bring it to Montreal, Ice Wars. They gotta bring it to the Colisée Laval, like put it on ice. You would probably pack that place easily.
Yeah, I'm pretty involved with the International Ice Wars, and there's a guy by the name of Charlie Nama that actually runs it, and he's I think it's a growing sport. I was a guy that I hate the synthetic ice. I don't feel that it's the real ice hockey fighting when it's on synthetic ice. So you're right. Having it on real ice and a real ice surface would make a hell of a difference, and it's a promotion that's slowly maybe going to grow, and you never know. Hopefully it blows up for Charlie, and he gets to move forward, and where he can profit off of it and expand it and make it grow is kind of the long-term goal for him, I think.
Yeah. So you also played in the KHL, and there's also two stories I want to ask you about, and you probably know what they are in the KHL that I listened on one of the podcasts.
Oh, which ones are you talking about? I've had so many different stories. You know, it's hard to keep up with them, but there's there's a few good ones in the Russia and but I don't know which one specifically you're talking about.
I was talking about the one though, the wedding crashing when you and your friend Jeremy took on that wedding group. And yeah.
No, like I said, it was just you know, when you mix a late night with alcohol and you know, we were out there at a club going to be going to it and having a good time, and you know, there were some young ladies there that were part of a bridal shower, a wedding party, I guess I should say, that were taking pictures, and you know, they didn't really like the idea. The husbands didn't like the idea of them, you know, taking pictures of us, so it kind of got a little bit rough. And long story short, a few guys ended up hurt, and I almost ended up in jail. So it was, but like I said, it was a story that I like to reminisce back on and laugh about it now. And you know, I even think to myself, man, was I stupid back then? But no, it was a really good time.
Yeah, and I remember Pederin, I think in the video or in the story, he's like, money to the cop to like tell you to like give the cop money, he'll release you.
Yeah, it shows the corruption of the police over there. You know, I was going to be getting arrested, and luckily he was there. He was just a young up and comer, but you know, very popular kid in Russia, and so he got me out of a pretty good bind there. It's, you know, I'm going to be thankful for that.
Yeah, and also the other story is, I remember you went back to Syracuse, and then your owner calls you, and they need you, I think, the Friday game against one of your rivals.
Yeah, I had to fly back. My wife was in New York with my baby Ava. She's now 11 years old, but that was quite a long time ago. But yeah, no, I had to fly home to spend some time with my wife, and I ended up at the last minute getting a phone call having to be back in Russia. So I basically flew across the Atlantic Ocean twice to go do one fight, and made it well worth it, though. It was a good time and a good opportunity.
And then I think like in 2013, you signed back with the LNH team, Sorel Missions. And I remember I went to that opening game, and it was packed just because you were playing.
Yeah, no, that was kind of a thing. You know, I was at the end of my career, and I actually was just in the point of purchasing a Tim Hortons franchise in my hometown. But you know, there was a little bit of time that I had to wait about a year or two till it was actually going to move forward, and you know, so there was an opportunity for me to keep playing hockey. So I actually didn't move there. I just kept living in Saskatchewan, and I would fly back and forth every weekend. And you know, I put on a lot of air miles that year. Let me tell you that for sure.
I remember, I think it was Keith or Kevin Papineau, one of the twins, told me about that.
Yeah, no, it was like I said, it was a pretty unique experience to be able to live at home and still play professional hockey. You know, I was driving back flying back and forth every other weekend, and you know, I maintained a job here in my hometown working with youth, and at the same time, you know, every second weekend, like I said, I would fly out to Montreal and play a couple games, and you know, get pretty beat up and battered, and then I'd come home and get to recoup and then go back. And you know, I did that for, I think, a full year. I did that for us. Quite the time anyways.
I even saw you play in the playoffs. Remember that game, the bench Cody Brawl at the end of the game against Jean Pierre, where you saw Penner and Coude having that little boxing match with their shirts off.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it all. I've seen too many brawls, and but yeah, no, like the LNH was a really fun time. You know, it was a tough time, a lot of fighting, and you know, a lot of stuff happened there. But at the end of the day, like I said, every experience that I had made me who I am today, and you know, I would never change a thing I did.
Yeah, and I remember I bought this shirt in Sorel, Jon Mirasty.
Oh yeah. I can't see nothing.
Though. It's okay. It's a shirt. It has like your signature thing where you put your fingers up like after a fight.
Oh yeah, right on.
I got it, Sorel. And I remember I have the belt here. You once took a photo at. I tried looking on my phone for. I remember it was the game like you had two good fights with Lassard, and then Coude knocked someone out. And that night, they were the three top fights in the league, and I think they were that whole season.
Wow. Yeah, like I said, I've been in a lot of fights, so it's always tough to remember which one specifically. But yeah, you know, Frankie Lassard was a tough guy, and I had a lot of good fights against him, and both in the American League and in the LNH. So it was always a good time to fight him, because he's kind of a similar fighter to me. He was a southpaw, but he, you know, fights wide open. So we usually had some pretty good scraps.
What about your famous fights with Steve Bossy?
Yeah, Steve Bossy, he's another guy that hits like a truck. He's hit me pretty damn hard, as you're well aware, and it was always fun. It kept the rivalry alive. In Quebec,
Yeah.
it was always it was a little bit hard though, because you mix those fights, and it was always a fight before a hockey game, so it kind of really wore on me mentally to always go and know that I was the main attraction for the fight. But I would have liked just to know that I was going to play a hockey game and then fight. But I guess that's what sells that league, and I followed along and put on the show, I guess, and created the circus.
Yeah, and I remember this player said, my dad's friend Harold Hirsch, he played for Sherbrooke St. Francois. He said the same: 8:00 puck drops, 8:05 gloves are off. But I believe it was 8:00 puck drops, 8:01 or 8:02 the gloves are off.
Yeah, didn't take long for that to happen in that league. That's kind of what it was built around. And
I miss those days.
Yeah, they really enjoy their fights over there, the French.
Yeah, I tell you, I go to Game State. Like, I went to one last Thursday. It's not the same. Like, back then, we're talking like 10 years ago. The league was way better than like right now. It's like trying to be more skilled, more developed to ECHL, I find.
Yeah, it's watered down for tough guys, but at the same time, me being a guy for International Ice Wars too, and trying to recruit fighters, they're just not making them like they used to anymore. The game's changed right down to midget hockey, where you're not allowed to play physical anymore, and you're not allowed to hurt anybody or hurt people's feelings. So I think you're going to continue to see the decline in fighting in hockey, because they're just not made like that anymore. There's back when I played, there was always a young guy that wanted to come after you to make a name for themselves, but now it's just not there. It's kind of sad, but I guess the game evolves. It's a lot faster. It's a lot more skilled. Something that I don't really prefer. I like to see the physical play and the toughness and not just the fighting, but the role players, the guys that go out there and grind and throw big hits and cycle the puck and play physical. But now it's almost four straight lines of European players that just want to play skilled, and you rarely ever see even a big hit. And when you do see a big hit, there's always a fight right after. So the game's definitely changed, and I don't enjoy it, but I guess a lot of people do enjoy it, and that's great for them. So I couldn't even probably name 10 guys in the NHL anymore.
Same. I love physical game. Like, I love watching that more like soft European hockey. I remember this guy Martel, like, he was a coach for John Kerr. When he came to the league, I knew right away who's going to ruin the league, because he wasn't for the fights, and a lot of the players hated that guy. Like, Trevor, I can name a whole list of players that didn't like him. Like, from I think Sean, Jeremy Malasson, I think he is.
Okay.
Tons of players. Even Hubert Poulet, I think, did not like that guy as well, and I didn't like that guy as well, because he wasn't for the fights.
Yeah, no, it's too bad. But like I said, it happens, and I think the true heavyweights are dinosaurs in hockey now. They're gone extinct, and you got guys like Ryan Reeves, who I personally wouldn't even survive back in the day with the true heavyweights. He's the king of the league now, and so like I said, I just think and even him, he's going to be out of the league soon. So it's just not very many guys out there that do the job anymore.
Yeah, I remember Laval. We have two players that are fired. They could fight Parker Jones and Riley McKay. And he tried to. They're some tough son of a bitches out there. Those guys, like, if they'll finish their hits, they'll fight if they have to. Like, I love watching when they're on the ice.
Oh yeah, it keeps the game interesting and keeps it intense. So, like I said, I guess we can only reminisce about those days now.
Yeah. Now, I know a player who actually plays for Sorel right now. I saw him play Thursday. His name is Bailey Morissette. I remember he finished his hit. He actually took out one of the players on Laval, one of their biggest stars, Paquette. He took him out with a big hit. But he won't fight in the league because he wants to score. He's small. He's like 5'5", 5'6".
Oh wow. Yeah. I don't really follow the league, so I don't really know many guys anymore. It's like I said, it's a completely different league now. And, even in the American League, I don't know anybody, so I don't even take the time to watch it anymore, unfortunately.
Now, last year you played one game in the FPHL for the Binghamton Black Bears. Tell me, how was that league compared to like the other leagues you played in?
Oh, it was more of a promotion thing. You know, I had no intentions of going to play there at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you know, they were bugging me to sign just to make waves on the social media, and you know, I ended up signing, and you know, it kind of got the attention of a lot of fans from the Syracuse area and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they ended up convincing me to fly there for one game and just to play. But you know, it was really hard for me because you know I got a whole new career now and really busy with my family life. So for me to even take a weekend to leave is quite hard on me. So it's a different league. Like I said, it's hockey in general's changed, but you know that's a lot lower level hockey, and you know most of those guys are just guys that are, you know, they're not going to make a career out of it really. So
Exactly.
for me, there wasn't really anyone there that wanted to fight me, and I had really no intentions of wanting to fight. I was more there just to visit old friends and enjoy my time when I was in Syracuse. So but yeah, you know, a lot of people talk about it and think that I was really going to come back and play, but it was just more of a promotional thing.
So I hear in your town you're running for your community. I think for mayor or something like that.
No, I'm in politics. I'm on my leadership team for Flying Dust. I sit on the city on the chief and council. So you know, that's kind of what I do is I give back to my community now, and I work a lot with the youth and just be a leader and you know and trying to bring my experiences from traveling all over the world to my home community, and it's going quite well. You know, I really enjoy it. It has its ups and downs, but you know, it's a very honorable position to have. You know, my grandfather was the longest serving chief of Flying Dust, so I really enjoy it, and it's a learning experience at the same time.
And I remember in one of Sean's podcasts is your father played a big part in your life to you as well.
Oh, definitely. You know, my dad's support was you know to no end. You know, he was always the guy pushing me to work out and to train and you know reminding me what it took to get to be one of the best. And so yeah, I worked my ass off. You know, I was a smaller guy. You know, I only stand 5'10" if I'm lucky, and you know, so I had to work really hard and to achieve every goal that I've had. You know, and to chase my dreams was you know what my dad basically taught me. And you know, even to this day, you know, I'm now on the TV show Shoresy, and you know that's a big accomplishment for
Oh,
myself. But you know, it's not easy. You know, you have to make a lot of sacrifice, and
yeah.
you know, it's hard to be away from my wife and kids. But you know, at the same time, I'm just trying to set a path for them to follow, and so yeah, it's awesome, and it's awesome to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, like my mom and dad watch our show. I don't watch it that much because I don't watch TV that much. I'm mostly watching YouTube and all that. But like,
Yeah.
I would like to be on that show, like be with like the guy who does Shoresy, like with all his hockey trips he has. He just comes up with like his mom jokes. It's so funny.
Yeah, no, yeah. Jared Kiso's an awesome guy. You know, he's a genius at what he does, and you know, he's became a pretty close friend, and you know, he's done some pretty fabulous things in his writings and his shows. You know, Letterkenny's a big hit as well, and Shoresy seems to be doing quite well for itself. It's kind of still young and fresh, but you know,
Yeah,
to be able to work with him, and he kind of teaches us, you know, how to become actors is pretty cool, and everyone there, all the support staff, everyone just treats us really good. And so, you know, they made that transition of going from a hockey player to an actor really easy, and it's definitely an experience for myself to learn and see a different side of entertainment, I guess you could say.
yeah. So basically, you owned a Tim Hortons back then, I think, in your community.
Yeah, I opened a Tim Hortons franchise here back in I think 2015. You know, it wasn't really for me. It was pretty stressful, and you know, it's a whole different world. So I ended up selling the business, and you know, but it's still pretty neat to know that I brought it to Meadow Lake, and then it's still up and running, and you know, now I've moved on to bigger and better things. It's just another chapter in my book.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like even when I work, like I work in a warehouse, and it's a hard job. Like I'm up every morning at 5:45 in the morning, and also I do Uber Eats sometimes on site, and it's hard. It's hard to make money these days, like working.
Yeah, well, you know, it's as long as you work hard and set
Yeah,
goals, you know, that's the most important thing, and keep busy, you know, and you know, hopefully you'll eventually find like what you like doing, and you'll go from there.
exactly. And I also have a sports management certificate from University of New York. But I find my like basically my fun times are like watching hockey. Even when I go on the road, like to upstate New York, Pennsylvania, like all the AHL towns. It's fun. It's fun for
Yeah.
me and my dad.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, hockey brings people together, and
Yeah,
like I said, I wouldn't be who I am today without hockey, and so I have a lot of thanks to give to hockey and my career, and with Shores, I don't think I would ever got that opportunity if I didn't play hockey. So,
yeah,
and fighting, I'm going to be the last guy to put down fighting because it said it gave me my work ethic that I have, and like I said earlier, being a smaller guy, I had to work my ass off to be able
yeah.
to be able to fight guys like Steve McIntyre who were 6'6",
Oh yeah,
Derek, late Derek Bugard, and even guys like Jeremy Lawson. Those are all really big men, and for myself to be able to go up and fight them and do quite well, it took a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice, a lot of dedication, and a lot of blood given. So, like I said, I'm a guy that just was happy to do what I did, and if I had to do it all over again, I would.
what about fighting Joel Terrio, the animal for
Yeah,
Teffer?
the animal. Joel Theriot is a very tough man. To
Oh,
this day, I actually still say he's one of the more scarier guys that I've ever fought, just
yeah,
because he didn't give a shit.
yeah,
He wanted to kill you if he could, and but at the end of the day, off the ice, Joel's a really good man and a good human being, and I wish him the best, and I still
yeah.
touch base with him once in a while, and we all had a job to do on the ice for our teams, but at the end of the day, we all got to look out after each other.
And I hope Joel takes this comment. Like I consider him like the Undertaker of the LNH, like the Godfather, basically, because he was
Yeah,
there for a long time.
yeah, he's one of those guys that you definitely, if you wanted to test yourself, he was one of the guys that you test with. He's one of the big name guys there that, was tougher than pretty much every other guy there. So if you wanted to see how you'd fare in that league and become a true tough guy in that league, you definitely had to fight him and at least survive it. So, you're right. He is a pioneer of that league.
Yeah, and there was one video I saw once. You in the game junkyard. It was where I think you sucker punched Balduke. Where the ref was holding him, and it started a whole bench clearing brawl. And then I just see Sean. I spoke about this with Sean. I see him shirt off, doing nothing, just yelling at Lacroix, I think, on the bench.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I've been in so many. I don't even remember that one.
I
But
watch it all the time.
if I suckered somebody, it probably deserved it.
Yeah, I was watching the whole time. I even watching my buddy on the couch. He's like, "Oh, McBarrel's out there, shirt off, like he did something." No offense to Sean. I like Sean. I'm good friends with him. I love his podcast. Great buddy of ours. And yeah. So, what was your favorite rink to play as an opposing player in the American Hockey League?
In the American Hockey League, I don't know. I enjoyed playing a lot of places, and
Yeah.
I remember going into Rochester was a big rivalry for us,
Oh.
so it was always fun to play in Rochester. Binghamton was another close rival, so going into Bingo and being able to face guys like Jeremy Oblonsky or even Matt Parkner that was there, and those are always big boys that really tested me. So I always liked it. I like to have the tougher fights, and I always felt like I did better against tougher guys. So, any time that you go into a barn where there was a big heavyweight there, where I knew I had to prove myself was always fun for me.
Yeah, and I remember like when I go to Rochester, I love watching games there. I love the city, has good restaurants, great fans, and same with Binghamton. Like I miss Binghamton in the league. Like I love that city. It felt like I was in the movie Bull Durham. That's what it felt like when I went to Binghamton.
Yeah, no, it was a good city. Yeah, I enjoyed it there too.
Yeah, and what about you? Played one game in the NHL in preseason for the Columbus Blue Jackets. How was that like to experience an NHL preseason game?
I think got to play a few more than that, but it was fun. Being able to play. I know I played in Nashville. I played in Columbus, and just to, I guess, have even that opportunity was pretty big for me because I come from a small reserve in northern Saskatchewan, and it's a pretty big thing to even step foot on NHL ice surface. To be able to play some of those big name guys and see some big name players. Guys like Rick Nash and even Mike Commodore and Jason Chimera and all these guys that had pretty successful hockey careers in the NHL. It was a good achievement for myself, and I feel that if I played maybe 10 years earlier when the game was a lot more rough and tough, I probably would have had a lot better chance at playing full time in the NHL. But like I said, I got to meet my wife playing hockey. I got to meet a lot of friends playing hockey. So hockey was a really good opportunity for me to get to where I am today.
Yeah, and the thing every kid in Canada or like every kid in hockey always wants to play in the NHL, and that's like their dream to get to the NHL. And not a lot of people can say that these days.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's not a tough road to travel to get there, but at the end of the day, you make a lot of sacrifices, and you also, for me, I literally bled, but to get to where I was, and it was, like I said, a great experience, and I got to meet a lot of good people, and travel the world and make money while I did it. So I have no regrets whatsoever.
And that's how you have so much. A lot of us have a lot of respect for you for what you do on the ice, what you contribute. You put your body on the line every night in, night out, fighting players. Like that's what players respect, the fighters. I find.
Oh yeah, like I said, we were there to protect players, and protect our teammates, and that's what I did. I was always there to back up a teammate, to to spark up the team, to get momentum going, to quiet a crowd. There's a lot of responsibilities that an enforcer has, and it wasn't an easy job. The nights before games, you can barely sleep because you're so nervous about who you have to fight in that next game, and so it was a stressful job, but can't say it enough. I loved what I did, and wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, like me, like if I played like pro hockey, I would be scared if I had to fight someone. Be honest, I would love to, but I would deep inside be shitting myself if I had to fight like a Joel Theriault or a Steve Bossy out there, or probably you. I would be scared or shocked.
Yeah, no, you always want to have that fear. It's good to have fear, because if you're not scared, usually you don't do as good. I loved that when I was scared, because you're nervous, you're prepared, you're going to give it your all to succeed. And that's what I did. So I loved when I was scared. I knew I was prepared to fight if I was going to be scared that night.
Yeah. Anyways, this is going to be the end of the podcast now, but I would love to have you on again. Hopefully, maybe we could get like maybe Steve Bossy on, Shine on one day, like three of us do a podcast together.
Yeah, possibly. Like I said, just keep in touch and let me know how it goes. And I appreciate you having me on. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, same. It's an honor to have you on, because like all my brother's friends know about you and your background and your hockey background, and same as my dad. But anyways, I just want to thank you for being on, and it was an honor just having you on the show. Like a big honor.
I appreciate it, man. It was a good time. Thank you.
Everyone, I just want to thank Jon Mirasty, actually Jon Nasty Mirasty, like I like to call you because the nickname. But anyways, I hope you're all having a great night, and I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. And stay tuned for next Saturday, as we're going to have the captain of the national ice hockey team of South Africa on my podcast Sunday. So I hope you all have a great night and happy holidays. Same for you, Sean. And yeah, you all have a great night. See you all
right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.